Hello, my name is Pushpita Eshika. I'm a researcher in the Department of Heritage Studies at Arkansas State University, USA. Today, I'm going to present a part of my PhD dissertation, which was based on the relationship between the local community and the World Heritage Site of Somapura Mahavihara. The topic of my research today is the material culture and heritage identity relationship between terracotta plaques of the World Heritage Site of Somapura Mahavihara and local potters of northwestern Bangladesh. Today's presentation is divided into three separate sections: the magnificent terracotta art of Bangladesh, Somapura Mahavihara and its terracotta ornamentation, and the socio-cultural context of rural Bangladesh and the life of Bangladeshi potters. Before getting into the topic, I would like to tell two words about the climate of Bangladesh. Bangladesh is the central part of ancient Bengal, which was a significant part of ancient India. The soft alluvial soil carried by mighty Brahmaputra and Ganges from the delta formed this delta of Bengal, which possessed a culture of clay and water over 10,000 years. Monsoon is the permanent member of this delta. This low-lying land in the foothill of Himalayas lays underwater for half of the years. The unavailability of stone and high land made permanent construction extremely difficult and expensive for this country from the very beginning of civilization. Since clay was the only material available for construction, this region has mastered the exploration and maximum utilization of clay in every aspect of life, which reflects in mud huts, cattle shelters, veneration altars, temples, and even in large masonry buildings. The utilities like pots, tumblers, storage boxes, safes, and many other household elements are also examples of this clay utilization. Until colonial period, cement plaster was unpopular in Bengali masons. The terracotta plaque was the most used and prominent finish material for the outdoor finish of brick buildings. Again, until colonial period, such buildings were mostly constructed for more public purposes like religious, educational, or administrative to ensure their permanency in the adverse climate of Bangladesh. Terracotta plaques became a scientific solution for those buildings to protect the outer surface of the buildings from adverse effect of climate. It also gave the artisans opportunity to explore their imagination and artistic quality. Eventually, it placed itself as a high art of Bangladesh. Terracotta, a high art of ancient Bengal, came into the attention of the researcher only in 19th century. The art of molded clay was probably practiced in this region for more than 2000 years. The earliest terracotta artifact was found from Mohastangarh, a walled citadel situated in the northwestern district of Bogura in Bangladesh. That terracotta figurine was of 3rd century BC. In pre-Pala and Pala dynasty of Bengal, extensive use of terracotta plaque is observed in historical references, which extend from 5th to 12th century AD. All these plaques were used either in religious buildings or institutions which were necessarily religious. Use of terracotta also found in secular buildings until 12th century and some of the buildings in Muslim period of later period. But the number is very less in comparison to those that were embedded in religious buildings. Thus, terracotta plaque became a form of literature that narrated history, myths, and stories of day-to-day life in a picturesque form. It also narrates the stories and myths of gods and goddesses, and sometimes these stories were known and well circulated among the mass population. Sometimes they were emblematic, representing more metaphoric meaning. Let's shed some light on Somapura Mahavihara. Somapura Mahavihara is an 8th century Buddhist monastery of Bangladesh. It was built during the heydays of Palas. The monastery is spread along 22 hectares of land. The monastery complex is an excellent example of masonry construction and brick art of Bengal. It is quadrangular in shape with a central shrine that rises almost 80 feet above ground, even in its present dilapidated condition. The entire monastery was once cladded with uniform terracotta plaques, thousands in number. Only 1600s of these plaques were recovered by the Department of Archaeology, Bangladesh. Sompur Mahavihara was constructed during a time when Vajrayana or Thunderbolt school of Buddhism was in its peak in Bengal. This dynamic school of Buddhism was erected from the very heart of Bengal, adapting the rules and philosophy of Tantra practiced in Bengal from a time unknown. The ancient esoteric practice of Tantra was based on encrypted text and symbols of mystic origin. The primary focus of Tantra is one's own self, the synchronization of body, mind, and universe in the cosmic balance of by controlling the airflow inside one's body. The main objective of Tantra is to establish universal balance through mantra, chants, mudra, bodily gesture, and mandala, the two-dimensional layout of cosmos in symbolic form, color, and diagrams. Magic and mysticism were two fundamental principles of Vajrayana Buddhism, which was constructed completely uh, around the adaptable spine of Tantra. Hence, encrypted scripture was introduced to the religion, and Shompur Mahavihara was a three-dimensional representation of mandala, following all the cardinal directions and symbols of that geometric form. Now let's discuss about the potters of Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a low-lying land. Most part of this country remained inundated underwater for half of the years. Either earth or water are two primary elements that constructed the culture and heritage of this country. Almost every district of Bangladesh has one or more potter villages. Those villages were there for many years. The potters usually make necessary household accessories and artwares like pots, plates, bowls, and farming handles like cattle feeding pots, water retaining buckets, etc. Pottery was never a hobby for Bangladeshi potters, but rather a profession to give food to their families. The modern discovery of industrial material like aluminum, plastic, and other household items has limited the livability of Bengali potters. In 2016, the UNESCO World Heritage Site and Republic of Korea, a project was introduced called UNESCO Republic of Korea Funding Trust. A workshop was conducted to train the local potters near Sompur Mahavihara in Terracotta in the hope of sustainable heritage management and to revive the lost art. Department of Archaeology Bangladesh arranged the project and artists from the National Craft Council conducted the workshop. Other partners in this project were UNESCO Dhaka Office and World Heritage Convention. The capacity building and marketing of pottery was the primary focus of this workshop, considering the long history of and heritage of earth molding and Sompur Mahavihara. 25 potters from two villages in the neighborhood of Sompur Mahavihara were selected after two reconciliation survey to train in the art of earth molding. The initiative was undoubtedly a noble and a thoughtful one, but it failed. Why? This research has discovered few fundamental gaps in the context. The first and foremost one is the market. Even though the primary target was to create a wider market for the local potters, one important aspect was under consideration. Pottery for the local potters and artisans are profession, not hobby. The time and labor each decorated pottery costs are not enough profitable for them to invest. From several interviews, I came to the opinion that the potters are enthusiastic about this new art form, but are not interested in making them as they do not sell. It is strange that no potters, even out of curiosity, tried to learn the art of casting terracotta in the two pottery villages near Sompur Mahavihara, even though there have been the greatest example of terracotta molding art lay in front of their eyes for hundreds of years. This is the second gap of context. Sompur Mahavihara is a Buddhist religious site that local people regard with respect. The overwhelming monumentality of the monastery and numerous stories and myths circulate around the locality created a respectable, to some extent, fearful distance between the monastery and the community. Even though this dimension of this relationship is not a visible one but is a strong one. Sompur Mahavihara was a monastery of mystic Buddhism of Vajrayana. The terracotta plaques are depiction of different symbols of that religion. It is not sure if those plaques were placed according to a narration or according to any cardinal order, but it is sure that these plaques served religious purposes and each of them had some metaphorical meaning. While trying to revive the Shonpur terracotta, this was impossible to uh, update as the religion is no longer religion does not exist, and the art artisans does not have any connection to that religion, and most importantly it was impossible to update the present artisans with that knowledge as the religion was completely abolished from Bangladesh. As a result, even though the artisans learned the technology, they could not relate themselves to the high art of Shompur Mahavihara. Lastly, until today, the discovery of terracotta plaque has always been related to a respectable and important building like mosques, temples, monasteries, etc., which indicates high patronization, large flow of resources, and also have a deeper and profound meaning. This indicates that this is a high customized art that needs conceptual development, patronization, and a reason. There is no such evidence of random terracotta plates selling in the market in historic references. Hence, this research came to this decision that Sompur Mahavihara is a heritage site. It is an extremely important heritage site for Bangladesh. Its extent, its integrity are so vast that it impacts in building the national identity in a macro level to this nation. But the micro level impacts of this monastery are quite different than its macro level influence, and which is often invisible to the naked eye. The way the potters rejected to practice the art of terracotta is a learning opportunity for the heritage workers to look at and address heritage sites and communities according to the needs of time, context, and culture. Only then sustainable heritage management can be ensured. Thank you.